Here's your New York Muscle Radio fitness tip with Anthony Bevilacqua and Pete Kacharian.
What's up, guys? New York Muscle Radio's fitness tip number 12. Again, these fitness tips are little fitness tidbits that we give out to you guys. They're short little clips, give away a lot of information. Again, if you guys are interested in downloading this, check the feed you listen to and listen to a full podcast episode. But today's fitness tip is high reps versus low reps. So, big guy, what can you get out of high reps that you can't out of low reps?
Well, high reps to start is obviously going to have a lot more volume per work done. So if you do, let's say, you bench 225 for 3 sets of 12, your volume is going to be very, very high. So if you're training with lower reps, the weight might be high, but the total amount of volume is not going to be there. So we know that high volume and hypertrophy are definitely two things that go well together. So if your goal is hypertrophy, the high reps are definitely going to have to be a part of your training. I'm not saying it's exclusively what you should be doing, because obviously heavy weights play a role in that too, but the higher reps do help you increase that volume significantly.
Yeah, there was actually a study that actually had these versus each other, high rep training versus low rep training, as long as the volumes kept the same. And what they showed was when you focus mostly on lower reps, but again, the higher reps, keeping the volume the same, you're actually gaining more strength with lower reps versus the higher reps. So in my opinion, you got to do what you like to do best. If you like a mix, you could definitely do that. Or if you like lifting heavier, lower reps, you can do that. You just have to keep that volume number, where it should be. You got to know, okay, it takes this amount of poundage for me to grow, and however I want to do that, you can. So there's no benefit for using one or the other.
Right. I mean, if your goal is strength specific, then obviously you're going to have to train with the heavier weights. But if your goal is strictly hypertrophy, you're just going to try and hit that certain volume threshold that you need to hit. And whether you do that with heavy weights or lighter weights, it's pretty much going to even out. But if you go the heavier routes, you're going to build strength while you're building hypertrophy. But you're going to have to do way more sets with the heavy weights because the volume is going to be significantly lower. Like if you use the example of benching 225 for 3 sets of 12, however, whatever the total volume is for that, if you add that all together, it's going to be way higher than what you could do in something in the 5 rep range for 3 sets. So for me, I know I could hit 225 for 3 sets of 12 on bench. If I were to do 3 sets with, let's say, 275, I might get 5 or 6 reps. I'm training much heavier with 275 versus 225, but the volume is going to be significantly lower. So I'm going to have to add way more sets in that way, which is also going to take up more time. So, whatever your goal is and whatever you could fit in, you might want to aim more towards one or the other, but it's always a good general rule to do both.
Yeah, and in that study that I talked about also, the lower rep group actually suffered from more injuries and were more burnt out. So you got to keep that in mind too. It's harder when you're slinging around heavier weight. But all right, guys, that was New York Muscle Radio's fitness tip number 12, high reps versus low reps. Again, be sure to check the feed you downloaded this from and check out a full podcast episode. Until the next time, guys.
Enjoyed this episode of New York Muscle Radio? Make sure to hit that subscribe button, leave us a 5-star review, and be sure to follow us on Facebook, New York Muscle Radio.